wildlings. Today we are going to talk about ways that you can celebrate Mabon, the autumnal equinox, which just happened on Saturday, from now through until the harvest moon next Friday on a budget. So for Mabon, we are expressing gratitude and reflecting on all that summer has provided us as we welcome in the waning light for the darker part of the year that is starting to come forth now through autumn and then onto winter. So although Mabon was on Saturday that just went, that was the time of the actual autumnal equinox. However, usually when we celebrate a Sabbath, I mean, not everyone celebrates it this way, but you can celebrate the Sabbath all the way up until the next full moon. And for this Sabbath, the next full moon is the harvest moon, or as the Scots called it, the yellow badger moon. So we have now this build up of energy until the full moon on Friday, of which we can conduct all of our honourings and still continue our focused magical practice in regards to Mabon, certain practices that you can incorporate for the next week ahead into your practice to really weave in the beauty of Mabon and sit with and honour that part of the year as we now enter the darker half and we enter into this deeper, more liminal internal time period of rest, relaxation, rejuvenation, decay, and magical workings. So the first thing that you can do is do a really deep space clearing of your home, of your work environment, anywhere it feels like it needs a good detox. And I honestly can speak to this, that I feel like when I do a really deep cleanse of the altar, of my sacred tools, of a work environment that I am conducting sacred magical practice within, and then within my home where me and my partner do a really deep clean together, it genuinely resets the whole space and amplifies any magical workings moving forward. So much happens in the summertime, and so sometimes the energy can be super dense and hectic. So to be able to deep clean, ground, cleanse and renew, just like a spring clean, we do an autumnal clean for the next period. I find that really helps to make any magical workings a lot more potent in the darker half of the year. One thing that I really like to do is I like to set the space. So once I've done my clearing, and you can use sage for that, I really like to put an ambient soundscape on. So there's a few beautiful ones here on YouTube that you can use, and I will link a few down below that I find are really beautiful, powerful, that I use in my home as well. So I like to set the space like that. And I also really like to burn essential oils that I feel are very cleansing and purifying. So things like eucalyptus, tea tree, clary sage, clove bud, anything like that. Peppermint is another favorite of mine, but just make sure that if you have pets that you ensure that however it is that you are utilizing the oil, that it is not toxic to your pet. We have a cat, so I wouldn't recommend an essential oil diffuser because I do use things like peppermint. So I will just use a very light tea light burner, which will just lightly burn the essential oil, and I make sure that it is in a room that she is not in as well at the same time. So just be conscious of things like that. But space clearing is super important and can really empower your practice moving forward. So going on from the space clearing, but that is also connected to magical working that you can do in your home space, I would really recommend to honor your house spirits. So honoring your brownie spirits, honoring your house guardians. These are the beings that protect your space. If you are a conductor of witchcraft, then you will have already have called in specific companions that are for this purpose, where you build a relationship with them in order to protect your home, in order to protect your altar space and where you conduct your magical workings, or where your loved ones are. But if you haven't done this yet, I can still guarantee that there will be something nearby that is looking out for you, that is watching your space, and this is a perfect time to honor them. We have a little altar that is set on the windowsill where I have a lot of white stones that I have collected from out in nature, and then I have a candle holder there as well, and I have an image in a beautiful frame that I use as a focal point for honouring our house spirit and our house guardian. And then obviously again just leaving things like small offerings such as dried fruit, nuts. They tend to be ones that I go for at the altar space for the rest of the house spirits. Is just a really beautiful way as well to help amplify the energy and to space clear, because they help with that also. Moving outside of the home, the best thing that you can do to honour Mabon is to go out in nature and connect with the green folk out there. And while you're doing so, also remember to forage. Mabon was all about the harvest time for our ancestors, and unfortunately, unless you're literally living on a farm or you have your own small holding and your own vegetable patch in your own garden or something like that, you're not able to reap a harvest in the same way and celebrate like that. So a beautiful way to feel connected to the landscape is to go out into your local landscape and to forage sustainably. Go for a beautiful walk somewhere where you can see all the lasting bloom of the green that the summer has provided us. As we go into autumn now, we're going to start to see the colours turn and the green is going to start to lessen. So make sure that you go outside and you replenish your stores with the fullness of summer by going out for a beautiful walk. In terms of foraging, things that you might be able to forage right now are the last of the elderberries, the last of the blackberries, depending on where you are. There's some hazelnuts also that tend to be out, but my favourite for this time of year is the hawthorn berry. Hawthorn is absolutely incredible for your heart health, but just make sure that whatever it is that you are harvesting, make sure that you harvest it sustainably so you don't go and deplete an entire area, because remember that the animals are also dependent on these fruits as well to get them through the winter and through the autumn. But also make sure whatever you do harvest, you make sure to look up online how to prepare the fruits properly that you have gathered. Elderberries and hawthorns require a little more post preparation in order to make sure that you remove any of the potential toxins from them. So please forage consciously, sustainably, and also make sure you know what you're doing with the fruits after you've gathered them. And with that foraging, you can also use those fruits that you have gathered to do a little home baking. So because we're in Mabon now and it is all about the beautiful harvest of the season that has just gone, we can make beautiful things like crumbles, jams, fruit butters, and don't forget to use things like pumpkins and squashes. You can roast them, you can make pies. I have my beautiful tiny pumpkin here, of which my partner gave me, so I have this sitting on my altar to represent Mabon. However, we are definitely going to roast this at some point and add this to one of our meals coming up, so I'm very excited to use this. Things like honey cake are also beautiful to make at this time of year, and I also love to make loads of things like stews as well. Anything that is warming and provides comfort of the oncoming autumnal season, but also celebrates the fruits of the summer just gone. In terms of some altar work and focused magical practice that you can do, if you are a tarot or an oracle reader, I have created this setting sun spread that you can utilize during this time to recognize all that you have gained from the summer and all that you are moving towards in the autumn. The first card that we will pull will represent the overarching theme of from now until the next Sabbath of Samhain. So what are the themes of our path moving forward? Then we will be looking at what I have gained this past summer in my growth. For the second card, what have I understood more about my inner light from this past summer? For the third card, what do I need to release from this past summer? The fourth, what have I understood more about my shadow? And the fifth, what light am I carrying forth into the darker parts of the year? Now is also a perfect time to honour the green man at your altar as well, or the Lord and the Lady Wildwood. The green man has been working hard all throughout the summer, painting the landscape green, helping nurture and nourish life, as well as the elementals that have tended to her growth alongside him. So now is a perfect time to honour him at your altar. Incorporate a lot of green, a lot of things that you have collected from outside in nature this past summer. Light a candle, say an invocation, or write a letter expressing your gratitude and all of the beautiful memories that you have gained being outside in the wonderful landscape that has been nurtured by him this past summer. Another thing that you can do at your altar is to do some candle magic. Now you don't need any of the large candles for this. You can literally just use a tea light, and then if you go into your pantry and then you find things that are warming or that have a beautiful golden colour to represent the summer, I like to use things like turmeric or clove or cinnamon, things like that have already been in my pantry, and I don't have to go out and get any more because they're already there. Spells conducted around Mabon can represent focusing on the prosperity and harvesting the prosperity and abundance that we have accumulated from our hard work, from tending to the things that we care about throughout the summer months, as well as casting our power forward into the autumnal equinox part of the year, and to carry that prosperity forward for us so that we can reap our rewards throughout the winter months as well. Candle magic can be done as well to carry through the light that has come from the summer as well, to guide us in direction into the darker part of the year. Although I am a winter and autumn bird through and through, I know a lot of people do struggle around the time of winter because of the dark nights, because of the shorter days, the lack of sunlight, and that can be quite extreme depending on how far up the northern hemisphere you actually sit. So sitting in sacred space with your candle and just casting forward the hope that you will have that light to carry you forth in a direction as a compass points north throughout the next part of the year, to carry a bit of the solar light forward, can be also really beneficial during this time, and incredibly potent building from now up until the next harvest moon on Friday. I really hope you enjoyed this video, wildlings, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to join us here on the channel where we explore green witchcraft and hedge witchcraft, and I hope I will see you in our next video.